April Lunch and Learn started. So I'd like to welcome Dana DeGrave from Prime Lending. She's who sponsored lunch today, so a huge thank you to her for that. And then, of course, we have our presentation being provided by Toni and Paula Miller on an overview of NAR tools and tricks that they're going to show us, and some more information and how to utilize all of the services that they do provide to us. So we're first going to start, let Dana share some good lending information with us, and then we'll turn it over to Toni and Paula.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. So I've got a couple of slides in front of you. I'm not going to take up much of your time because the rest of the stuff. The first one for you to look at is really cheap. Some of you might already have it, but I wasn't able to get to everyone yet. And if you would like more for your offices, let me know. It's kind of just a neat kind of thing that has about all different programs. Just to kind of stick over to. So there's that. And then I also provide you with a half flyer and this. Some agents like to give it to their first-time home buyers because it tells them about half. And most importantly, it tells them the steps to follow to get the half program. If you don't know, that's the $14,000 grant money that low-income families can get. And then last is West Virginia Housing, and we're just really want to promote that Prime Lending does West Virginia Housing. There's not a lot of mortgage lenders that do it. And we do it well. It's important. Excuse me, 3 things to take away from this is it's 5.33 interest right now with no points. It is for first-time home buyers unless they're in a targeted county. And on the back of that is the different counties, the different limits, income limits, and what counties are targeted counties and which counties. If it's not a targeted county, it means that you do have to be a first-time home buyer. They also offer $8,000 as a second trust at 2% interest for 15 years to use however you like, down payment or payment. So that and the other kind of important note is that for veterans, they do not have to be a first-time home buyer. They can use the bond program one time, and they don't have to be a first-time home buyer. They do have to come in the income limits. I think that's about all.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
For the family sizes, do they have to be married?
No, they do not, and I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of the things I wanted to tell you. The difference between West Virginia Housing and USDA, because USDA is a cap as well. USDA, you have to take in consideration the whole family income. West Virginia Housing, you do not. So it's only the person that's going to be on the title is the income that we're going to look at as far as qualifying. So if you look at like Jefferson County's limit, it's very high. And if you only have to use one of those person's income to qualify, then it's locked. Thank you for your questions. Anything else?
Dana, the old formula for West Virginia Housing, if I recall, when you got that second, when they gave you that second trust, wasn't it tied to having to live in the home for up to 10 years?
It's not only just on the second, it's using West Virginia Housing altogether that they can come back and recapture and make a profit off of the house. Because what happens is that they buy bonds to buy the rate down for the person. So if they sell, say, in 3 years and they make a profit, bond wants their money back to use for someone else if they make a profit. Now, if you talk to Dave Hill, he'll tell you that he doesn't have any knowledge of them ever doing that, and with all the closings that he's done, I imagine that he would have some of those. But and he also said that there's a federal law that trumps that, which is it's only 2 years. I'm not an expert on that, but yes, there is that. And one last thing, I don't know for some of you that have been around for a long, long time. When I started doing West Virginia Housing, it was a little bit of a pain to do. They were kind of difficult to get through. Not anymore. They really, really streamlined the process in these last years. They have the person that speaks about it and who really, really takes in consideration you know, what we're going to do as lenders and everything. So the process is really streamlined. I hope that you could, if you have sellers that are maybe not willing to look at a West Virginia contract, please explain to them that the process is much more streamlined. We actually approve all government loans. So anyone that's VA, USDA, FHA, we approve it, and they just put their stamp on it saying they're under the limit. That's it. If it's conventional, they do underwrite. But you know, your majority government programs, we underwrite it. Is it?
I was just about to make that point. So I've been using West Virginia Housing probably for the last year and a half. A lot of about 80% of my clients fit into that. It's a fantastic program, layered over all different types of loan types. I can say that the seller, I've never received any type of rejection from the seller. I've never had any issues with it not closing on time. You know, all the things there. Contractually, though, you got to make sure, because learn from my mistakes. There's a second on the offer that you're writing. You got to record that as a second deed of trust. So, like, you know, like where you're on that front page or something, and you know, for a good 6 months, I didn't realize that, and got corrected on it. But it should be okay for your sellers. It's a very, just to reiterate what you're saying, incredibly streamlined. Your buyers are gonna love it. Everybody's gonna love it. I followed up with my buyers because I closed with David Bill for primary, you know, most of my closing, but they call it a baby loan. And so that's terminology he uses. So I follow my clients and say, well, how does this feel? Does it feel when you're sending out another $40 a month or something like that? They love it. They're like, oh, it don't bother me a bit. You know, it's the smallest amount, and
they don't have to take the full 8,000.
Yeah.
They can take 2,000, whatever that they need. So,
what is the interest rate on that smaller
2%?
2%. Okay, so that one has never fluctuated then. It's just okay. Cool. I'm sorry.
No, thank you for this.
Thanks. It helps. That's why Dana's here.
Yeah. That's me.
What do you say to folks that someone was telling me that if the interest rates really do drop, that if they have this, they won't be able to refi out unless they pay that in full? Is that accurate?
Like I said, we don't think that they've ever come back and recaptured. That's not saying
If you refinance?
Yeah, to refinance or sell. Well, we can't say that they won't, but you know, the next 9 years. But I don't think it's very favorable for them to do that. Refinancing, refinancing realistically, we don't know if rates will ever come down further than, you know, 5%. Yeah, it's 5.33 on that. We can't advertise it because it changes. The rate will change. Eventually it will change. It might go down a little bit. But I don't know if I've done West Virginia housing, I've refinanced out of West Virginia housing, and I've never had them have to come with money that's never interrupted the refinance.
Oh, that's good to know.
But it is something that I can contact their liaison and ask him about that, because it's a good question on refinancing if rates ever do get back down there.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I was just gonna reiterate. I've only had one client do it so far, and they pay off all the lien holders, and so West Virginia Housing got paid off. They've never come back to reclaim it.
Yeah, and the attorney would pick up on that.
Yeah.
When they order the payoffs. So they wouldn't, you know, if they go to closing and will they warn them before closing, or they would warn us that they're gonna, you know, recapture them. We would have to add that into the refinance, but, you know, your closing attorneys would catch that.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you for having me. Hopefully you'll think of me if you have a first-time home buyer. We do them really well, probably 90% first-time home buyer. That's what I deal with, so we'd love to have your business. Thank you.
Dana, how many years have you been in the industry?
26.
26. Very knowledgeable. Knowledge. Yep.
Thank you, Paula.
You're welcome.
Well, enjoy your training, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
All right, I guess we'll
I guess we'll just
get started. I guess before we start, I'm Toni, Paula, we introduced, I think we know most of you in here, but does anyone have any questions of who we are? Or why we think we're qualified to teach this? I mean, well, anything, I don't want to give us our whole bio, but if anyone has any questions, I've been an agent 19 years, so, and around and highly involved on the national level, the state level, local level, so. And same thing with Paula. Paula actually was the one that got me really involved in the national level, so.
She was my little protege. She used to go everywhere with Jeannie and I. She would be our little traveling companion, and we'd play trivia with her all the time. She doesn't remember Paul Newman at all for what we remember him for. She remembers him for salad dressing. Just saying.
Right. I mean, so I've learned a lot, not just on the NAR side, but also a lot during, the travels. I mean, salad, we've learned a lot. So we just wanted to say, and I guess before we get started, as you know, you're a member of EPBR. That includes membership with WBR and NAR. And I just want to remind everyone that it is pronounced NAR and not NAR anymore. That is an old school way of saying, and I believe it's a slur somewhere. So just I tell people get used to saying NAR, not NAR. There's a lot of the old school people say NAR. And as you know, it stands for the National Association of Realtors. So hopefully, I don't know that. So just get started with that. Anything before we just dive in, Paula, or?
Probably not. Like Toni said, we're pretty knowledgeable on all three levels of the association because we really believe in association work. And I started with the local level in 1991, so that shows you how long I've given at an association level of some format. But a little bit of trivia for today. In 2004, I was local president, and I started what we called at that time the Rookie Society, which has evolved into the Lunch and Learn. So 20 years later, we are still doing this. And I won Realtor of the Year for the state because I started that Rookie Society. 20 years later, here we are still. So I'm pretty proud of that little job.
Another little gem, just as you're saying that. Paula was also very instrumental on the state level with the Leadership Academy. I know Jerry's in the current class right now, but Paula was, during her term, really got it started. And we were both actually on the committee that got it going. So and it's been a great program. I was in the first class.
Yeah, and it was 2014. 2014. So it's 10 years old this year now, the Leadership Academy. And I don't know how many states now, but at the time, I remember the last time I remember them saying something, there were only like 7 states in the nation that had a state leadership academy. And we are a very small state. And a couple of the states don't have enough people to do it every year. So they go to every other year. And we have, every year we've had it. So pretty proud of that little gem too. Thank you, Toni.
All right, I guess we'll just dive right into it.
Yeah.
I guess we just want to start and take you to, because we've been members for so long, we forget all the information that is there, and most of it is all free at your hands that you could use at anything in your business, in your personal life, with your clients and your office. So, and if you have any questions after, we could, talk about it after. We just want to kind of get through the basics and then go from there. But if you go to the NAR website, which is nar.realtor, very simple to remember. If you go to the membership tab that we have up here, and all the information is all in one little page. I mean, you can get stuck on the website for hours and hours and hours, but I direct new people or anyone who doesn't know to go straight to this page. And if you would just want to scroll down, Paula. It has all the basics, all your benefits is all right there. It talks about you have to take the Code of Ethics training every few years. And if you click on like some of these different tabs, there's so much. It talks about the logos. You could use the realtor trademark if you're a realtor. It talks about all that, all the advertising campaigns, your Code of Ethics, of course. The commitment to excellence, what we'll talk about a little bit later. They even started the last 2 years, which I think has been great to a lot of the members, is the Center for Financial Wellness. And there's different webinars that you can take to set yourself up for, because we're all independent, most commissions. So they've done a really good job to even personally be able to set you up financially and to show how to do that for later in life, because there's no retirement, all the benefits that we don't get as being self-employed. So if you want to take time to look at that, it's been a great resource on the NAR site, and everyone loves it. I guess let's just jump into the guide.
Okay.
That's probably the easiest thing.
Yeah.
This is online.
Which you can also download.
Yeah.
You know, if you prefer to paper or something like.
Yeah, so this is the membership guide, and you want to probably even just pinpoint this on your laptop and have it. Here, Paula, let me go. Can I sit there?
Certainly. Certainly. I thought she wanted me to be Vanna White.
And then we'll just go through. I just want to make sure everybody can see it. But like I said, it's right there on that website, and we'll just kind of highlight a few things. There's so much. I mean, obviously, it talks about the NAR mission statement. And we're just going to get through some of the stuff that you guys probably want to be here for. So as you know, there's lots of different, and this month is Fair Housing Month. We all know that April is Fair Housing Month. So NAR, it's all right there. There's lots of, and we do have another page we'll show you later, different webinars you can look, different flyers you can print out. We printed out one of the ones that NAR provided about fair housing for all. Yeah, it didn't. For whatever reason, some of the links don't work. We didn't find that out. So I'll be sure to let NAR know that. So this is just a nice thing to tell where they came from and where they are. Just to remind everyone about that. So that was something we did print out for you guys. Do we want to go ahead and talk about the Fair Haven now since we're right here on the
weekend? Yep. Let's go up to, I keep looking up there for a link, and I don't know why, I didn't look there. Okay. So
Dan does not get training for this. Dan did not have her training. Okay.
You want to talk about it?
I guess, yeah, we'll talk. As you know, EPBR is doing a little contest between the offices if you've done the Fair Haven training. And it's basically just kind of going through simulations for fair housing. And it's really neat. Paula and I actually had to do it a few years ago as required to an NAR committee we were both on. We needed to do that to be eligible to stay on our committee, which I think is great. And I think actually a lot of the associations are starting to do that. If you're in leadership, you're taking fair housing classes, you're taking the Fair Haven classes, you're taking a bias course. I just had to do at home with diversity for NAR to stay on the board of directors. So, I mean, they're really trying to educate as much as possible, which we should be. But Fair Haven, but back to EPBR, they are doing, and is it just till the end of the month, Angela? Yes. If you take send all your certificates to Jenny, and I believe you'll either get a lunch or a breakfast sponsored.
Yes, the office with the highest Asian percentage completed. And if we have a few of those, then there'll be a drawing, but that's the goal. Is the office with the highest Asian office percentage completed. CMB is going to provide breakfast or lunch for that office.
Which is great. And it's very knowledgeable. And I'll tell you, Paula and I have been, and we're going to show you our results. I will tell you, and I know DK took it a few times, and they have updated it, but it's not as easy as you think. And I would say that I passed it the first few times I took it, and I started to think, what's wrong with me? Because I think I know what I'm doing. I know, I think so we just want to actually just kind of go through maybe some of the.
The interesting thing is Toni and I pulled this up the other day when we were working with Tammy on getting ready for today, and we were laughing because we wanted to send our certificate to Jenny. Because we wanted to say, we already took it. We did it in 2021. Jenny was laughing at us. So, but your results are in here, okay? And so I pulled up my results. This is my performance report. And Toni pulled up hers. And you see these this is your ideal outcome is 3 green stars. Your less ideal neutral outcome is 2 gray stars. And your needs improvement is red stars.
Oh, you got some work to do more from me.
So as you can see, that's how subjective this course is. It's very subjective, okay? All right, so as I'm scrolling down, I said, oh my God, Toni, I got a red star. She goes, me too.
I got a red star on that
one. And then I go to the next, I said, oh my God, I got another red star. She goes, me too.
I have a red star on that as well.
And then I go, oh my God, I got another red star. She goes, me too. Finally, I get to a couple of gray stars. Yay. She goes, me too. I'm like, were we cheating when we did this? Were we talking to each other? We were.
I was yelling at my lab. I will tell you.
She was actually texting me like, oh my God, I can't believe it. So as you see, as I go down through here, look at me, I got some green stars. Yay! I did very well there.
I have the same green stars.
she's got it too. Green again.
Green again.
Green again.
Green again.
Gray.
Uh-oh. Gray.
Green again.
Green.
Green again.
Green.
Green again.
Mm-hmm.
Green again. And then I hit red, and that's the one you hit something.
I have a green on that
Oh,
one.
see,
Nice.
and you know what I said? She's got a degree in marketing.
So at least we know I can pass that one.
I didn't go to college.
You know, it is an eye-opener
It
to
is
do
an
this
eye-opener.
because I did it a couple of years ago, and you know, teaching code of ethics and fair housing. I thought, oh, this is gonna be a snack.
Yeah.
It's
And
not.
then I had like 3 red ones, and I was like, oh crap.
Yeah.
You know, and as an educator, I thought, man, I really gotta fix this.
So don't beat yourself up when you take it.
Yeah,
But it really
challenging.
is, it only takes, I think it tells you 60 minutes.
About an hour.
About an hour and 2 hours total to take it.
I think it took me 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what am I doing wrong?
Time
And I had to keep going back.
Yeah, it says 60 to 100 minutes supposedly. So, and as you can see, there's a restart button, which I would like to take it again to see how I do, but I didn't want to do that before I showed you today how bad I did in 2021. And nobody's gonna know but you. but
like Dawn
that's
said, it's
great.
very eye-opening, and I think it's just especially in the world we live in now to be very conscious of what you say and do.
Yes.
And I don't think any of us were. And I was like, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. Look, it was very interesting. So it's just like if you know, I wouldn't say get bored, but if you just have some free time, it's fun to explore it.
Yes.
DK.
I will say that one thing that's really interesting about the simulation is 3 people can take it, and you actually get 3 different paths.
Yes.
Because based on your answers determines
It goes-
every answer or question after.
That's true.
Yeah, so
Yes.
Yeah, and that is true. It goes, and that's, so apparently Paul and I were the same path.
in case you went on the cheat,
You can tell where I learned everything from.
What does it post on social media? Does it post your score? Does it post that you did it?
I think it just posts your certificate. Like I think it, to say I completed the fair
Not the
haven.
Share on social media. That would be you sharing your certificate.
Which you probably get that thing.
Not all your red marks. Don't share that.
Anybody have any questions on that? Like I said, it really is fun. And it could even be like a little competition within your office as well, not just with the EPPR, just to be like, hey, I know what I'm doing.
if you're having a meeting,
A training,
you know,
it's
bring
great,
your laptop and sit there and take it all together, and you know, then you'll really have the same answers. But it could also be a good learning tool, or just talking to each other about it. And because it's Fair Housing Month, what more important time to do this than the fair housing? And speaking of fair housing, you see we have the nice little flyer that Tammy printed out for us. Isn't it so nice and colorful? Now, you can find that on the Fair Housing site. And so you'll be able to read all the little tags along the side. That gives you the whole history of fair housing, and because it started in 1968, so it really was 50 years old in 2018. And there's a lot of information you can pull off here, but a lot of it is still tied to the 50th anniversary, and we're really 6 years beyond the 50th anniversary now. Questions?
Man, I got off our page we were on.
I know. I think we were here.
Yeah, and it's just talks about a little bit more of the other trainings that you can find. There is what they call CCUX, which is commitment to excellence. Couldn't get that one out. And it's also another, I guess, simulations, and it goes through just making you a better realtor. Like it tells you, like, you know, go to like different meetings in your community, to like commissions, to anything. It also gives different training, like if you call these people today. So it's kind of like just a check, like, oh, I did this, I did that. And they've really pushed that. And it's, once again, all this is free. And I think it just makes you realize, like, hey, I could be doing this to better your business and just you and your office and our profession, which we really need to do that right now. So I think taking that.
I was hoping it was going to open to.
Yeah,
I clicked on it, it said, oh, there it is.
Oh yeah, that one does it. And there is an app that you can even just when you have, like I said, a few minutes here and there, just kind of go through the app and.
Tony, you've taken this.
I've taken it.
Anybody else taken it?
I know Tony did.
It's only available now in the app.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only in the app.
You can't do it on your laptop, it's your, you know.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
they have
app
wow.
on your phone.
Okay.
Which makes, I think, it easier.
Or your iPad too.
Maybe
Yeah.
iPad.
Yeah, it's-
Wherever you can get a Play Store.
So even if you're in between appointments, just sit there like you're waiting for a client in the car. I mean, how many of us are sitting there in the car?
I will tell you, I
It's
never.
very challenging
It is
too.
very challenging, and I never completed it. I started it, and NAR keeps reminding me, "Oh, are you going to finish your C2 yet?" Yeah. Eventually, but it is like
Yeah.
it is a very challenging course, but it's all about us and our experience as realtors. Yeah. So that's in there as well.
Okay.
Back to our magazine.
Back to our magazine.
Yeah, next page. We'll just skip. I don't want to do it. Like, if there's anything, there's also different programs that you can use, and actually more on the board level in your office. NAR does so many grants, and I know EPBR has started to look into the grants. We've used grants on the RPAC side, which we'll talk about. Hopefully everyone knows what RPAC is. If not, you will. On that, so we've definitely used grants from NAR. There's so much, I don't say free money, but a lot of programs that NAR will help in our community. There's lots of community stuff that you can do. And I know, like I said, EPBR level and on the West Virginia level are really looking into some of those to do more community side. So there's all that on the NAR side. What are you looking up for?
I was pulling up the ad campaign
Oh, okay.
while you were just talking.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, no?
It was up.
Well, you asked for a shower. Let's see, we shower.
And just while she's looking at, she's the acting meeting, so that was part of the other things that they do. And actually, I think we were in a meeting, DK just walked out, a meeting yesterday, he said he heard, a realtor commercial on the, I guess the radio.
Yeah.
So I mean, NAR does do a lot of, I think everyone's like, what does NAR do for us? There's so much they do for you. You just probably don't even realize it. There's different campaigns, and you can, all these ads you can share on your own websites, you can share on your own social media, and obviously right now is probably the best time to be sharing all these. And they update them all the time, and they talk about like what realtor, and see there's the radio ads, you can add them. So there's so many things, like I said, if you just go through this site, I mean, you can, for days, just find little snippets, but we just want to at least point out some of the highlights.
I noticed during March Madness, we were promoting realtors on March Madness. I saw one of the commercials on that. So there's, and somewhere you can actually find exactly where they are posting them, or where they are promoting them. So, so you can, check on that yourselves.
And as a member, you can use all of this on your own social media. And I know EPBR is doing a great job of sharing so much stuff. So even if you just reshare what they're sharing.
Oh, here's all of our.
And then, as you know, a lot of the education opportunities that NAR does provide. I guess the one that we want to point out is the ABR. If anyone knows what that is, the Accredited Buyers Representation. I can't talk today. Which right now, NAR is offering this class for free. The education is free.
Yes.
If you want the designation, you have to pay the yearly dues. That is the difference. EPBR is actually going to be hosting a free 2-day class in June
24th and 25th.
June 24th and 25th. I think the information is probably going to be coming out within the next week or so, we think. It's going to be a free class, and once again, it's part of the designation, but the education is free from NAR. If you want the designation, you do have to take another class, an elective class, which is you have to pay for that class. I think EPBR is going to look into hosting a class, or you can do them online. And then to keep the designation, meaning you have those letters after your name, you pay yearly dues, which is, I think, is like $150, $160 a year. But regardless, the education is free. And even if you didn't want to sit, how much is it? $110. Even cheaper than I thought. I think CRS is around $160 a year. There's so many different designations. But also, even if you don't want to sit in a class, you can take the ABR education online for absolutely free as well at your own pace. They have self-study courses, and then they're also doing a few webinars. I did a webinar just as like a tester through the board of directors, and it was a great webinar. So yeah, so it's, once again, it's free education. Even if you don't do the destination, you can get all the free education on how to represent a buyer right now. So, and that's why they're pushing it, because they're trying to do as much as possible to educate you. So that's just one of the bigger classes that they're offering, but obviously there's so many different courses that they do offer, and there's different fees for each one. I actually did notice the green designation, since it is Fair Housing Month, and one of the benefits, when actually I was looking through the website to kind of pull some tidbits, I noticed that this month they're offering that class online for like 20% off. So even monthly, just look at what they're offering, and sometimes you'll be able to get good deals on classes, so that's a good way to even get the education, just see whatever is on sale that month.
Yeah, now I didn't check for the, if you go to the website now to look up the schedule for the legislative meetings in DC, would they list of every class?
Yeah, they don't really do a lot of these big classes anymore there.
Okay, because I took my MRP there, and it was like $99. It was a one-day thing, and I met so many agents from across the country. That's the military relocation professional. I think that's what MRP stands for. But it was only $99, and I just went to DC and took it. So anyways, isn't the green designation also part of our GRI
The
course?
GRI, it is part of the GRI. So if you take GRI, you'll get that designation, but if you just wanted to take it, just to take that class, you can separately. Anyway, I know we're like talking about so much stuff, but we're trying to get like the basics, just so when you can go back and look through all this and kind of do a deep dive in what you're really wanting to find. More all the different destinations they offer, all that. And like I said, all this is all right in one little booklet. Maybe.
Yes, so as far as the destinations go, does that provide, like, does it have an oncoming lead source with it? Is it like, okay, I got my MRP and now all of a sudden NAR starts sending me military leads?
No,
or is it just a feather to put in your cap?
NAR is not going to send you leads. Other MRPs, because you'll be in a website somewhere, or there's even a Facebook page for MRPs. Okay.
So it does connect you somehow.
It does connect you somehow. The best designation I've ever gotten with the most return on my investment is the CRS.
CRS. I was just
Hands down. CRS. What is credited real estate? No, accredited residential specialist. And then there's a CRB, which is the broker side. I should be standing up, I'm sorry.
So it's more like for the seller side.
But CRSs, there's, I don't know, to this day, it used to be only about 8% of the real estate population had that designation, and maybe 10 or 12% now. It is a little more popular. It is expensive to take, because there's like 4 or 5 modules to it, and each one you have to pay $200 or $300 to take, but I'm telling you, I have gotten...
They've changed it, Paula?
Yeah,
it's not, I don't even think, because I finally finished mine a few years ago.
Okay.
And I was able to do the pro program, which is if you've been in the business 10 years and done multiple you had to take like I think I had to pay like $100 for the education and then the dues. But as soon as I got my membership, I got a listing referral.
See?
So
CRS is really fallow CRSs.
They're all for, it's a referral source. When you have the destination, you're going to be put on the website, you're going to be put in a Facebook group if you pay your dues. And then if someone that is an ABR CRS is looking for someone in that area, they're going to look at and say, who's in this area that's a CRS.
Yeah.
So it's a referral service. And I'll tell you, like, it pays the dues. Like, that's why I think Paula and I both do a lot what we do on the national level, because we get so many referrals out of it just by being there.
I think that's fantastic. I never fully understood, like, as far as designation, I've seen agents post them, and I personally just didn't understand, like is that like it's just something to like say like for just show, or is it meaningful? You know, I try
to me it's meaningful because it's
it sounds meaningful from what you said.
And it's education too. I mean, you're also always learning because they offer classes, and you just keep, you know, because our industry's changing. So it's just education is usually the better education you get out there.
I'm not even sure if I look at my card that I even put those initials after my name anymore.
I have one of my NAR name tags and it has like all the designations on it.
Right.
And you'll be surprised. You'll be walking, and these things are massive. NAR does this for whatever leadership positions. But I think they do it so they can read it. And like, oh, you're a CRS, and then they start talking, so they're all right there.
And even if you don't have a badge like Toni has, because she's important right now with the National Association of Realtors, you know what? I just remember what my red one is. FPC. That's what mine's red.
We have different colors for different things. Like I have several NAR badges.
But if you just register to go to the trade show, or to go to the legislative meeting, and on your registration you click, oh, I'm a CRS, I'm an ABR, I'm a whatever. When your badge will say all that on it. So when you're walking around the trade show or whatever, you got your badge on, somebody else could approach you and, oh, you're a CRS, I am too, blah, blah, blah.
Change info, now you have a referral.
Oh, West Virginia, oh, I have somebody coming to the West Virginia, but you know, you just don't ever know where your business is gonna come from, and let me tell you
That's
something.
right.
Association work brings you business.
I get calls all the time
Great business.
that this person from that person told me to call you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I can't even trace it back. So
Yeah.
you'd be surprised, even just where and just getting involved.
Yep. I haven't worked on the state level in probably 5 years now, 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And I just got I just closed one from an agent that sent me a referral that was on the board of directors when I was president of the state. And so he sent me a referral, and I just sold a property for him in West Virginia, up in here in Eastern Panhandle. I had to go to Morgan County.
Shocking. Don't worry, you're shocking. New Hampshire, whatever it's called.
I did.
Wow, they did get more
So
than
now,
that.
side note, Paula's first Hampshire County transaction
Oh, this is great.
actually was pretty funny. She had a listing and had a buyer. I wasn't typically going that far either, but my buyer was like, "Oh, we just like you. Will you go that far?" And I looked up and it was Paula's listing, and I said, "If Paula can do it, I can do it." So both of our very first Hampshire County business, we worked together, and I think we ended up closing at Phil's office because both of our clients were like, "We'll go there.
Yeah.
That's where you guys trust." So anyway.
I mean, my people wanted me to list their property in Hampshire County so bad that they offered to show it. And they didn't even, it was a second home. I said, oh, I don't know, I can't list this property. And then I'm gonna go up there and, oh, we'll do it all for you. Oh, okay. And then Toni sells it. Now, how is, so see, you don't ever know.
And now, as you know, we're all there. And that gives everyone.
Yeah, really. Now we're all over the place.
So just as you know, like there's so many different education. A lot of them sometimes are free. Some you pay a little amount of money, so they do that. And then we get to the networking. Obviously, we kind of jump back to, as some of you know, NAR does 2 big events every year. The next one's coming up, the legislative meetings, which is mostly legislative bases in DC, which is not far from here. I know a few of us, always go. A few of us are planning on going. It's free. Once again, it's all free.
Free.
Completely free. There's free. There's different classes that are free. Education, there are a lot. We have a lot of like the government's meetings, so the committees we're on will be in meetings. We'll be doing that. Also, like all the directors, all that kind of stuff. And then they also do a trade show. So a lot of people are going down just for a day, do the trade show, whatever free classes are. And actually, we just got an email the other night. I'm just going to read like some of the ones that they are adding because of everything that's happening right now. And it was about like getting new tools for tomorrow's business. That's a new, and they're all usually about an hour and a half. Buyer's agreement, how to get a buyer's agreement signed. Obviously, they're going to do legal updates. And then there's another class that they just offer, adapting to change real estate landscape, how to navigate compensation conversations. So, even if you just want to look at that kind of stuff, and once again, it's free. You just pop in, pop out. You do have to register just so you have a name badge, so they know who you are. But there's so many different classes, and the dates are May 4th to May 9th, and right in downtown DC. So I know there are some people from UPBR going, if anybody wants to go and carpool, so.
Let's jump in while we're on this page and talk about RPAC and what this meeting means, okay? I'm sure most of you know, or all of you should know, that the NAR has 2 buildings. One is in Chicago, that's our headquarters, and one is in Washington, D.C. on New Jersey Avenue, which will be open for an open house during this legislative meeting. They always have it open for you to go. And that building is there because NAR is on Capitol Hill every day working for us, working for the needs of housing, working for keeping us in the transaction, keeping us independent contractors, whatever is going on right now. The flood insurance issues, which are always every year, that seems to die off, and we have to go back and ask them to reclaim that. at this meeting, we all go to Capitol Hill, and we actually meet with our legislators while we're there. Okay, so we have 9,000 to 10,000 agents that are descending on Capitol Hill, meeting with their representatives at that time. Every congressperson and senator is assigned a realtor from across the nation. So I am the representative to Congressman Mooney. So I am what is called the Federal Political Coordinator for the National Association of Realtors, and Congressman Mooney is who I have to go to anytime there's a housing issue of any kind. They'll send me talking points, very knowledgeable on how I need to speak to him or whatever, and I have to take that to him. I also try to meet with him personally 2 or 3 times a year, whether I go to DC or whether, because he lives in Jefferson County, or whether we meet at what's the coffee place down there? Black Dog Coffee Place, yeah. One day I went to meet with him on, true story, this was like June. I'm all dressed up because we're, I'm going to meet with him. And he's there and he's got his walking shoes on. He goes, let's walk Route 9 walking path while we talk. Okay. It was like 90 degrees. We're walking. Yeah, okay, and talking and sweating. But we've had some very good conversations. You all know that he is now running for U.S. Senate. He's running for Joe Manchin's seat, right? Yeah. Yeah. So when we go to DC, we have an appointment already set to meet with him. I'm actually taking the Leadership Academy class with me. And Jerry Williams is one of the members of the Leadership Academy class this year. So we go, and he probably will not be there personally because it is 1 week before primary. 1 week before. So we probably will meet with his legislative director, which is great too. And then I'm also hopefully going to get a Capitol tour for the Leadership Academy to take, or to go, to take. And that would be after the meeting. And the great thing about it is you're down in underneath the Capitol. You're in the Rayburn building or whatever, and you go underneath everything to get over to the Capitol. It's really, if you've never done the tour, it is so knowledgeable. It's great, yeah. So we'll be doing that. So that is pretty much what that meeting is about and for. Okay.
And does everyone know what RPAC? I know we kind of went over that. You should know what RPAC is, Realtor Political Action Committee. As you know, in your dues every year, you have a little line item of $25 a year that you should be paying. I tell people it's like an insurance to your business, but I'm here to tell you that only about 40% of EPBR realtors pay that a year, which is very, very sad. That $25 you take off of your dues. Paula and I are both higher level investors. I mean, we do over $3,000 a year at least, and we get different benefits, and that's a whole nother thing. But it's because this is what we're doing. We can walk into Capitol Hill and walk into any congressman's office, senator's office, because of that destination having the RPAC ability. And NAR is the largest PAC in the country, the largest over even in RA. People think NAR is largest, and we get invited to other events with our level of investors, and we get to sit down with senators and everything, and they'll all tell us they love the realtors because we're the most professional, we give back, and we come there when we have a reason. We don't just go and just, say, hey, can you look into this or that? And with the realtor party, everyone, gets saying, well, I don't want to support this candidate because you support that candidate. Unfortunately, that's how it happens. We look at what's realtor-specific items. It might be a party that you don't like, but you know what? That person is on a committee that is going to make the decisions that affect your industry, like those on housing ones, the flood insurance that we have to reauthorize every year. RPAC helps that. The biggest one I like to tell, and I know it's many years old now, is COVID. Who remember, COVID times, who were all realtors. We were one of the only states that immediately could keep working because of our relationships with the governor's office through RPAC. So just that $25 a year goes a long way in your business. So just remember that when you do that. And like I said, and usually on the NAR side, they're pretty 50-50 down political lines. People say that. They're, sometimes it'll be like 49% we're supporting Republicans, 51 Democrats. Sometimes it's, reverse. It's just realtor party issues. And we actually just had a webinar. So just so you know, my leadership role this year with NAR, I am the RPAC Participation Council Vice Chair. So next year I'll be the chair and travel around on behalf of NAR talking about just why you should get involved in RPAC. The participation numbers, so like I said, that's why I know that EPBR is very low on the participation numbers, because I do get that monthly report. And I can tell who in this room is doing it and who is not. So you'll be hearing from me more.
It's only 26% right now.
26% of what we're doing. It's $25. You know, it's $25. Even if you pay $2 a month, you can do it that way. People do that way all the time. But like you said, COVID, we were one of the only states that could operate fully. Around us, if you're licensed in different states, there were so many rules. We had no rules. Pennsylvania, I don't think could sell a house for 6 months. Yeah. So just to show you that, you know, that $25 goes a long way. So please, please do that every year. And that's why we can do these meetings with, you know, different congressmen. I've also been asked, just because in West Virginia, for other organizations, like, hey, do you know the senator or the congressman? Can you come to the meeting with us because you're in West Virginia? We need someone who is, so it's just, it opens up the doors. And it's kind of actually to be at the table doing that. So your $25 goes a long way. So please, you don't have to hear me talk about it next year. Yes.
Are you guys going to be there through the 9th?
Yes, I will be there through, because we have a board of directors meeting on the 9th, so I think we go in like the 3rd to the 9th. We're all there. So, and I tell people, like, if you're coming, let us know.
Yes,
and we
really.
I know Jackie is going. Jerry's going to be there with the Leadership Academy.
I'm going. Yeah.
Paula will be there.
And we have a West Virginia night while we're there, and I believe it's Monday.
It's going to be Monday night.
It's going to be Monday night, and if you are there that day, and you don't mind staying to go out to dinner, then Ray takes us all.
We have a free dinner.
We have a free dinner, West Virginia night, and you all know you can take Metro in there. And there's a Metro right into the Washington Convention Center, isn't it?
I think it's a few blocks away, but it's very close.
But still, close enough for you to walk once you take.
But I tell people around their state too that come, like, let me know. I mean, I will walk around. I'll take you to a meeting. Come to a meeting with us. We have our own Skype. Yeah, so.
There's all different, when you go into your account, and we'll get into it more in depth, but when you go into your account, you can sign up for whatever news you want to get from NAR. If you want to get news every day, if you want to get it once a week, if you want to just get information on legislative stuff, if you want to get information on what's happening with housing, whatever you want to sign up for, and you can resubscribe, you can unsubscribe, you can sign up for something else later if what you're getting isn't valuable to you or whatever.
Yeah, and just on the NAR website, you go to my account, and then here's everything you can sign up for. Different emails that you get and app file. It's very easy.
But the one that I received yesterday one of them that I received is the Realtor Party News. And it's a Realtor Party at NAR.Realtor is who it came to me from. And it's logoed with the Realtor Party, so you know that it's a real email from NAR, okay? And then in this issue, they'll tell you what the different things that we're working on right now, okay? As in, it's Fair Housing Month. They always would start with that. NAR seeks clarity on home buyer access to mortgage credit and urges the VA to revise a policy that disadvantages VA buyers. We're all familiar right now with the new credo of buyer agency representation and the fact that you may have to ask a buyer to compensate you if the seller won't. And a VA loan, you can't do that. So we're putting the VA loans at a bigger disadvantage now over something that they don't have, it's not their fault. So we're trying to get Congress to look at that. The Department of Labor's work classification rules take effect, and NAR continues to protect realtors' ability to be classified as independent contractors. That is ongoing. That happens in our state too. Ray watches that every year, because you'll have a bill that'll be submitted, and somehow that'll get tagged into it. Making us employees versus independent contractors. So Ray Joseph, our CEO on our state level, he's our legislative person as well.
He's our lobbyist.
He's our lobbyist. So he'll watch that very carefully every year. NAR testifies before Congress on the dire lack of housing inventory. That's going on right now. And it just gives me an overview of the news, but that's going on. But one of the things I was saying to Toni, of the 151 congressional districts that have held their primary election, there's been 151 congressional districts that have held it so far. Our PAC supported candidates in 137 congressional districts that won their primary. So you can see how strong our relationship is with the people that we support to move on and their opportunity to move on. The Opportunity Race program supported 27 candidates with 26 winning their primaries. I know Shelley Moore Capito has been a Realtor champion. I know Alex Mooney has been a Realtor champion. Manchin's been a champion. When I say they're a champion, NAR will throw investments into their campaign. They may do a mailer, a special mailer for them, or they may host a special dinner for them or something like that, because they are so supportive of housing at the time that they're running for re-election.
And just on the RPAC, we get a lot of questions on that too, like where the money goes, obviously. When you do an investment, 70% of whatever you invest stays in West Virginia, meaning we control where it goes. 70% of that, 30% does go to NAR for different races, but a lot of that, we can also request some of that to come back to us if we need it. So that's what I tell people a lot, because we're also hearing that, well, NAR doesn't do this, they support that. I'm like, well, 70% stays in our state where we could throw it wherever we need it. So just, that's a big number that I don't think people realize. It thinks it all goes to NAR. It doesn't. It stays with us, and we distribute how we see fit.
Do we want to stop a minute and take some questions? I mean, we've been running our mouths, totally, and certainly somebody must have a question about something.
You guys know it all.
Dawn?
Just let you
She's
know.
thinking.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Just let you know ahead that we are going to go to the DC.
Very good. Now, when you say we, your office?
Well, at least me to start.
Oh, okay.
I'll take it back to the office and see who else.
Very good. Yeah. Very good.
And the schedule is all, sorry, Jai, the schedule's all online, so if you see like what day has the best, I'll tell you right now, it seems like Sunday has a lot of the classes.
Yeah.
And then probably Monday, I think, has a lot more of the different that you would want to go to.
Yeah.
Sunday and Monday.
And the trade show opens Monday.
Yeah.
So you'd be able to participate in that as well.
Exactly.
And you said that the
Canadian Homes there is an app if you don't want to go
It has
online.
the schedule and maps and all kinds. I remember relying on it last year, so
Yeah.
I just quickly looked to see if there was one for this year.
What are they calling it?
It's the
I think it's just
Realtors Legislative Meeting 2024.
Okay.
Just put in your app store, NAR.
Legislative, and that app will come up, and yeah. And then once you create your schedule, I created mine yesterday, so once you create it, you can just push a button, it'll go to your calendar. On your, on your phone.
Tells you where to go.
Yeah.
okay.
And you also can print it out. I like to print it out because I like to carry it with me when I'm in DC and make sure I got to send it, somewhere I'm supposed
I
to
put
be.
it behind my badge.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
or put it
like
behind your badge. Yeah, exactly, a little pocket of your badge. Yeah.
I think, I do think it would be helpful, so you were saying, like, for us to post whatever, what link did we go to get the bump of, like, the thingy-majingy? Where she was just talking
You mean
about?
like the campaign or?
No, she just
We
said,
talk
I
about a
did-
lot, so what
what was literally just said to you the second before I started speaking was, like, I put it here, and then I pulled it up, I was trying to follow where. I was
The
trying to
app,
follow
are you
that.
talking about the app that did?
So it was
Just-
the app.
This was the legislative app. It's just for this meeting.
Just for the meeting.
NAR has its own app. I think it's just National Association of Realtors app you can download.
Yes.
What has everything on it.
Okay, so there's a legislative app.
Yes.
Okay.
So
that
probably
was
just
what
go
I
to
think
the
is
app
important
store.
for everyone to kind of figure
Yeah.
out.
And there is a realtorparty.realtor is the actual website with all the legislative, but anything you go to NAR.realtor, it's all right there too.
Okay, so you were saying, what was West Virginia night?
Monday night.
Monday, May 6th.
Yeah, and I think it's either 6 or 7 p.m.
Yeah, because I think for me personally, I can only speak for myself, is that when I come to these things and I want more and you're gonna see me more and because I wanna be more involved with it, it's just understanding where to go for it. Because I think we rattle those off super quickly, and I can see that because there's a familiarity because you do it a lot. I just want to make sure I was going to the right places. I was trying to follow along as you guys are talking.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what Nadine just brought up, we have so many people that'll come to like the NAR meetings for the first time, and later you'll say, well, how did you enjoy it? Well, okay, but I kind of felt lost. I
And that happens, like we were all lost first.
we were lost, right. And you hear a lot of acronyms. Everything's in an acronym, you know? And then you're like, what does that one mean? What, you know, yeah. And then you're afraid to ask because you don't want to sound stupid. So, trust me, if you need help in any way when you're at one of these meetings, if you've ever been there, just let us know. If we're there, we will, you can be our other hip, you know? Because we love taking everybody around and introducing to people, and
I think so too, and I'd like to see more people get involved with that, because sometimes we do make it seem kind of cliquey, or it's for that, and that's just not the way it is.
That's the way it is.
Yeah, that's an old
Toni,
school
why
way
don't you
of
talk a little
thinking.
bit about YPN? No?
No.
It's not doing well right now? Oh, shoot.
They have like a whole organization, Young Professional Network. I was part of it. I mean, I've done a lot, but I would say I wouldn't say there's much value.
Okay.
Let's skip over that. But even like these meetings are mostly more legislative bound, so that's why the people that go to these are more involved just for that reason.
Right.
And then NAR does their annual meeting, which is in Boston this year, and that's where there's more like geared toward first time people going. It kind of set more classes. Obviously there is a fee for that because there's all education classes on that. So, and that's in, I don't remember the dates. It's November,
It's
like
in November.
7th and 11th in Boston.
And this is the second time, I think Boston was 2018 or 2017. It was the first time I went. Greg and I took the train. It was fabulous.
I took that.
Drive to Baltimore, take the train. It takes you right into downtown Boston, and in that convention, you walk everywhere. Boston is a great walking city.
This convention seems like it would be great to go to, and that's why I think sometimes we just need to slow up, make sure we're all following along.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
I just want to make sure that it's mostly, there's not much education for the public members. It's more geared to a lot of committee members. So that's why, I don't want you to think you're going there and there's tons and tons of free stuff to go to. There is, but it's minimal compared to what Boston would be.
Yeah, but DC might be easier for us to travel.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Obviously. But I was thinking too, like, that's why I don't know, like I said, maybe everybody like catch on that quick, just finding out the right places to go and the resources. That's why I wanted to slow it down for a second.
NAR.realtor. It's where it goes.
NAR.realtor.
NAR.realtor has everything. Yeah.
And then the app.
And then,
that was awesome. Yeah.
And a lot of, they've kind of separated a lot of the things now. So you can go to NAR.realtor, but if you want to look at fair housing, fairhousing.realtor.
Yeah.
Fairhaven.realtor.
Yeah.
Membership.realtor. They've really freed that up. And anything to do with the lawsuit right now is facts.realtor. And they have taken the login off of it. They want us to send as many people as we want across the nation. Anybody that wants to look at facts.realtor.
You want to skip
about the actual facts of the lawsuit. That is the website to go to. Okay?
And I'll tell you, and actually, after this, I'm going to film a little video more in depth. But it had, look, as you can see, there's everything on there. There's correcting the record. There's the statements. Every week we get a video from Kevin explaining what's happening right now.
And he sends it to your email too.
Sends it to your email if you subscribe.
I think that one is Friday.
Even their statement back to President Biden about the remarks that were incorrect. We have that.
What's new?
So there's lots of all the updates. There's different fact sheets you can download. So I mean, I would say take this back to your office. I mean, we obviously, we're not going to spend too much time on this. If you have questions later, we can. I will tell you, WBR is going to be working on a Zoom for April 23rd, and we're kind of going to go through this a little bit more in depth. And we are trying to actually have a few guest speakers. But if you just go to facts.realtor, and you see all the different, downloads where you can have it. It's all in your fingertips. There's stuff for the consumers. If you take them to your listing appointments, like, here you go, here's the facts. So, I mean, NAR is really, and it's updated, they probably update this weekly, because as we know, things are changing. So this is something we definitely wanted to point out. It's all right there, and like I said, Kevin does a personal video every single week about what's going on. And I serve on the board of directors for NAR, so I also get Zooms, and they do a great job of explaining every little thing. I think every time I even listen to it, I learn something new about all the lawsuits that are happening and all the settlements. But any questions while we do have that up? Like I said, it's all
Wow.
there. In black and white. So like I said, you can print it all out.
We even questioned before we started, should we have an attorney here? Because we didn't know what was gonna come up, but I think if you're like me, I'm really sick of hearing about it. I'm sick of all the negative you hear about it, or all the classes that somebody's gonna hold because they think they know what to do, and
the information should be coming right from this website, nobody else.
I heard a statistic this morning on a podcast I was listening to. They polled like Americans, and 78% of like non-realtor related Americans still said that they plan to use a buyer's agent to represent them because they would not know what to do. And so
that's good to hear.
That's in and of itself is like a first framework to have a little relief of most people, like 78% still.
It's just about understand education of why. So better.
I know the lawsuits were initiated by individuals or whatever. We know that they're just a face. We know there's more money behind it. But my question is, and from a standpoint of legislative, why is the Department of Justice going after the real estate industry so severely? And, you know, like I said, we all know that the names in the lawsuits are just faces. We know there's bigger money behind it. But my concern is what, on a level that the regular realtor doesn't see, or the regular consumer doesn't see, what is DOJ's, what's their issue with the industry? There has to be something. I'm sorry, there has to be something, and I don't mean to come across as a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. I mean, we all know that Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, whose names are on these lawsuits, are just names. They don't have the money. Consumers don't have the money to file lawsuits like this. We know there's bigger corporations behind it. By the same token, what's the issue with DOJ? Why all of a sudden are they going after the real estate industry after all these years and seem to be pursuing this industry? With
a vengeance.
Yes, with a vengeance. So what are our representatives saying to us? You have such connection with Alex Mooney. What's his take on this?
That's a good question. I have not talked to him about this yet. And I'm hoping that I'm going to get some really good talking points from NAR to start the dialogue before my May meeting. Okay? So typically he is very pro-housing. He is not for becoming a rental America. And did you see the latest statistic now? Now they're saying rents are cheaper than to buy.
Yes.
And of course now they're touting that all over the place. And it's like, okay,
That's fiction.
here we go again. Exactly. Here we go again. You know, I don't know, Charlotte. Honestly, I don't even know how to answer it. I mean, when you have the President of the United States, and I'm not trying to get into politics, go on and make a statement like he did.
But again, he's being fed what he said.
Well,
we know he don't. We know he doesn't write his speeches. And I'm not just talking about Biden. I'm talking about anybody.
Yeah, sure.
They don't write their speeches.
Absolutely.
Their speeches are prepared by someone
Absolutely.
else. So my point is that all that we're hearing in the news and all that we're really being fed by NAR is surface stuff. There's something bigger behind this. There's something bigger behind this.
Lawyers, yeah.
Well, it could be the lawyers, but even at that, I mean, the Department of Justice is not going to go after an industry just because some attorneys want to make some money.
Well, they were already before that happened.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What's the issue?
I think it's just, it is what it is. I think it's, they wake up one day, like, what's this, just like they attacked Apple a few weeks, it's just,
Well,
And if somebody complains about something, they just open up an
Just open up a can of
investigation.
worms.
I think that would be great if we could solve that problem, but tomorrow could be another industry. It is what it is.
But,
And unfortunately, people are piggybacking, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think NAR is, as you said, surface. Like, I do disagree with that. Even not like if you just read what they're putting out there, it's just a matter of finding it. Is getting it out there. It's just, I mean, there's so much information, and that's what we, as individuals sitting here in this room today, have to do a better job of educating everyone, the public.
But the Department of Justice does answer to the legislature. And if we have
And
such
we
a
might hear
strong
more in May.
lobbying, if we have such a strong lobbying contacts there, then, you know, I mean, let's face it, if the legislature says to DOJ, you back off, they're gonna back off.
And maybe, and hopefully that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might have a different agenda, but I will tell you also, like the DOJ, we've had settlements with them, and they've said, yes, we're gonna do it, and then also
Yes.
not. Yes,
Yes.
no. So I mean,
Yes.
it's just,
Right.
it's the government, unfortunately,
Yes.
it's what we live in. It
That's
doesn't make sense.
That's what's happening now, is they're reopening what they said they weren't going to.
and I did a little bit of research, not to tell you, but NAR and DOJ have always had a very contentious relationship, because I started researching this when I started hearing about it. So they've been contentious for a long time, so that's no different than me and somebody don't like each other, and now all of a sudden somebody wants to come at her, I'm like, oh, let's all get her, you know, because it's always been very, very contentious between the two of those people, or two organizations of NAR and DOJ. So.
And I would say Jackie had a good point. It's like, because we are the largest trade organization,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's an easier target.
Yep. I have a quick question. How many in the room have gone on a listing appointment since this came out and he had a good conversation with the seller and he had no problem with the seller understanding why we have a program or a model designed the way we do? It works. Me too. I had a wonderful conversation with a couple of sellers who, frankly, were really kind of upset that this has even happened in the industry. You know? And one in particular said, a good realtor is worth their weight in gold. I said, can we actually put you on a phone?
Right?
You know?
Well, I think people, you know, see, I don't think that it's so much that they don't value, I mean, I think there are people out there that don't value this, don't get me wrong. But I think it's more that they have an attitude that they can save X number of dollars if they're not paying the buyer representation. And the thing is that percentage, whatever it is, that dollar figure, whatever it is, also goes into their appraised value. There's so many things that are going to be affected by that. Not only the VA loan, you know, issue, but, you know, what are valuations going to be now? Are appraisers going to reduce the value of a home by X number of percent, et cetera, et cetera? But it's the seller not wanting, you know, the sellers are seeing, I can save money. That's not the reality.
I haven't seen that with, I have not seen that with sellers. That's why I was asking. I have not seen the seller saying that in my instances. Jackie?
Something that Cindy Hall at Blue Ridge opened my eyes to recently is that the issue was actually over an agent, like originally over an agent submitting an offer and removing their part of the compensation as part of the offer.
Okay.
And so, like, she actually printed off the entire lawsuit and started reading herself because she's like, I can't believe any of what these news outlets are saying. I'm just going to read the actual documents.
And did that agent remove their compensation because they were the buyer?
No, they weren't.
Okay.
But it was in a multiple offer situation have their offer win.
Okay.
They lowered their compensation to a very small amount.
Okay.
And that is the problem, is that the
It triggered somebody.
compensation cannot ever be part of the contract.
Okay.
And that was something that I did not know.
And like I said, there's so much.
There's so much.
But I don't want to, we have about like 8 more
Yeah.
minutes, and I do want to we can come back after, like if there's, because I think we want to make sure we get through what we told the class was going to be about, the benefits of NAR real quick, and then we can come back to the lawsuit after the class is over. But I think another big tool that a lot of us don't realize is you get a lot of discounts with a lot of services that you do use for your benefits. I mean, if you can go, this just kind of says some of them. There is some insurance, I mean, as we know, like self-employed. They do offer different insurance programs that you can go look. I wouldn't say they're probably the most competitive, but they're there in case some states they are. You go through, there's, some FedEx, DocuSign. I've actually used the travel in auto. I've used a few of the discounts you get on rental cars. They actually used to have one with Chrysler Jeep. Like when I had a Jeep Cherokee a few years ago, and I was able to get a $500 discount. I mean, that's stuff that, I don't think you realize with your membership you get. So I just wanted to make sure we pointed that out. And like you said, you can go on them, and they do different ones. Those are the most, and even if you're buying new laptops, computers, there's discounts on that. So make sure you look at these benefits, because you might, even if you save $100 is $100 buying stuff. So, and then like I said, the destinations, they have, all some of the destinations. But they do, in their weekly newsletter, there's Right Tools right now, and which is the most, the latest benefits that you do get. So on discounts on different things. So just make sure you use that, because I think that is a big wealth that you get. And remember, what you pay to NAR is very, very minimal on your dues. I think the actual NAR dues is like $156.
Yeah.
You're getting all this for $156 a year.
Yeah.
So just make sure that even if you use one of the benefit, it pays for it.
And as Toni just pointed out, the $156, and then we pay an additional $45 for the national ad campaign.
The campaign.
So we're actually sending NAR $201 per year, because when I say we, because your dues is all paid here, and then Tammy sends the portion to NAR and the portion to WVAR from your dues dollar. So for $200 a year, I mean, guys.
And we only did minimal of what you get for your, and the tools that we didn't even talk about, it just hit me, some of the data tools that are out there for listing presentations, CMAs. There's a lot of free data tools.
Yeah.
And there's I don't remember where it is on the website, but if you look on that membership page, there's a whole section of, you can pull different statistics that you can use for presentations. So they have all of that you can pull. It's by region, it's by state, it's by zip code, or national number. So there's so many free items that you can use that's on the website. But I think just going to this membership guide is the bulk of the stuff, and then you can go from those different websites. But and I think we're pretty much out of time. But was there anything on that? And we can, if you have questions about the lawsuit, we can talk after. But just want to make sure everyone got the information about NAR.
Is there going to be some follow-up, links and things like that to this lunch and learn?
NAR.realtors, where you can find everything.
Okay, yeah, I've got that about 11 times, but
that's where it all
I
is.
didn't know if there was going to be any additional, but no, so that's a good answer. Thank you so much.
What did Nadine ask? If it was
I didn't know, because sometimes the lunch and learns will have different follow-up links.
Well, we certainly can.
DK.
I will tell you that NAR's site is one of the most innovative in the nation, to where the search bar is actually accurate. You go on a website and you search code of ethics, and pineapples show up. But if you actually go there, because when I help teach CE classes, I have to pull up the code of ethics, and I have to pull up case studies, and they are 7 all over the place.
Yeah.
So if I go to the search engine and type exactly what I'm looking for, it comes up every time.
Yeah. And it's all clickable, legislative.realtor.
Correct.
It's facts.realtor, legislative.realtor, NAR.realtor, fairhousing.realtor. So it's whatever you want, .realtor is probably going to pull up. That's the easiest, I think, to tell you is, yes.
But we certainly can. The education committee can take that under advisement for a future class to follow up on, another one of these types of meetings, or a suggestion on what you would want us to follow up with, what tool,
more detail.
Yeah. And thank you, Paula. That's kind of where I was going with it. But yeah, so the answer is no, and then yes, because sometimes that is kind of helpful with in-depth lunch and learns where you're giving a fantastic overview, but it's not you don't have time to go through all that. So I just didn't know if that would be enough.
In an hour you can only do so much,
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I sometimes like to hear from you and see well, this is stuff, maybe Paula thinks is important. I'm going to research it. But you're absolutely right. There's no way you could go over than that.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is always posted on the YouTube channel too.
Right.
So if there's something you want to go back and that you thought you missed, or you want to share this with your office, and you're like, well, I don't remember, you can always go back and watch the video and say,
Recording us on that.
Well, thank you guys. And
Thank you.